Imagine this guy shows up next to you in this gear. What do you think he's doing? Well, what if I told you he's making millions of GP doing unusual money-making methods that barely anyone else does? And guess what? You can too, following the methods I've got lined up for you in this video. My Runescape bank was looking rough after giving away almost everything to the Gillenor Games prize pool, but the over 100 unusual moneymakers we've tested has helped me get some GP back, and I'm ready to make some more. We're going to start off today by teleporting to the God Wars dungeon using our Gommel's Hilt teleport. This lets us skip that annoying run from the top of Trollheim. We've also got the Eternal Fire lit in this area, so we don't take any damage or drain from the cold. Once we're down in God Wars, we're heading south to the Armadyl section. All the gear I'm wearing relates to a god, so I won't get attacked making the run. Using our rune crossbow and Mythril grapple, we're gonna swing over and run a few steps to this crate right here. If you didn't know, this crate will always give you a Mythril grapple, as long as you don't have one on you. All you have to do is drop the grapple that you find in the crate, grab another grapple, drop it, and repeat. Do this until 29 grapples are on the floor. Equip one of them, then pick up the other 28. I'm using a crafting cape for quick access to a bank where I can then bank them all, teleport back to God Wars with the Gommel's Hilt, and do the whole thing over again. So why am I collecting these grapples? Well, the price speaks for itself. 1.6k per grapple, and we're collecting these things blazingly fast. 1 hour of collecting them should make us some great money. While doing this, I found a really fast way to search and drop the grapples incredibly quickly. By angling my camera so the crate is right next to my inventory and then holding shift, I'm able to grab and drop the grapples at laser speeds. It only takes 16 seconds to find 29 grapples and another 16 seconds to pick them all up. Teleporting to a bank, depositing everything, and running back to the crate takes us under a minute, so it feels like I'm doing everything pretty efficiently. It's why I was able to get 979 of them in an hour, so close to 1,000. I knew that these things were going to sell over time instead of right away, since not many people bulk buy grapples, so I listed them at 1,720 GP and went to bed hoping that they would sell overnight. I woke up to 369 of them having sold. I dropped the price of the remaining 610 to 1,627 GP, which all sold after a few hours. This leaves us with a final total of 1,611,117 GP. Since the teleports with the Gommel's Hilt and crafting cape were free, this is pretty much pure profit. 1.6 million GP simply collecting Mythril grapples, a top 6 method of all time. Keep in mind that these things will sell over time as opposed to instant selling, and the daily volume fluctuates between 1 to 5,000 a day. While this does put an asterisk on this method, it still doesn't stop it from being one of the best unusual moneymakers we've ever tested. Thumbs up from me. Now, how can you make money off of these barrels in this room? Well, we're gonna get to that in just a sec. Something that's never been unusual in the RuneScape scene are things like scamming, phishing, password hacking, DDoSing. In fact, I think growing up playing this game helped prepare us for a world full of these cybersecurity threats. This is where NordVPN can help. If you don't have a VPN, you need one. A single click gives you protection from so many online threats: malware, trackers, ads, a dark web monitor that notifies you if your credentials have been leaked, protection against so many forms of security threats. NordVPN will make you feel safer on whatever tech you're using. If you're on public Wi-Fi at a place like an airport or a cafe, connect whatever device you're using to NordVPN and you never have to worry about anything malicious happening. With other apps like NordPass and NordLocker offering you even more protection, NordVPN has got your back. I find myself using it more than ever these days, whether it's changing my location to be able to watch a show that's only available in a different country, or when I'm traveling and want some peace of mind on the network I'm connected to. You can feel the exact same way by signing up for NordVPN using the link below. Get an exclusive 2-year deal at nordvpn.com/souprs. For $3 a month, this is a great deal, and you get 4 extra months as well. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Make sure to check it out. Thanks to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. Have you ever seen this room before? I bet most of you have. You enter it during the Legends quest, but you're only here for a brief moment because during the quest, after you go in here, you go straight down this winch. But there's something in this room that you don't find anywhere else in the entire game, and that's these red barrels. Check out what happens when you click on one. You smash it open and some random loot appears on the ground, and there's a chance that one of these 16 monsters will appear and begin to attack you. These barrels can drop loads of items, including weaponry, runes, herbs and potions, food, materials, and some random other things. The funny things about the barrels is that there's no limit to how many you can open at a time. If you wanted to, you could just keep smashing the barrels open and have dozens of monsters attacking you. There's also a chance that when you smash the barrels, you get hit for 6 to 12 damage or have your attack level temporarily reduced by 1 to 3 levels. The success rate of opening a barrel depends on your attack level, so the higher it is, the better chance you have of smashing one successfully. This place is truly old school, since all the monsters that spawn from these barrels were in the game before the Legends Quest was released, all the way back in 2003, over 20 years ago. Except for the Deathwing, which was released at the same time as the Legends Quest. It's the same thing with the items that you get, so you've got some true old school stuff happening in here. So why are these barrels even here? What purpose do they serve being this far into the cave in an incredibly remote area? Well, the only theory I have is that these barrels were a way for players to restock some supplies while doing the Legends Quest back in the day. Bread, cheese, spinach rolls, a slice of cake, half a red berry, meat and apple pie, prayer, strength and defense potions, weaponry and runes to fight monsters. These barrels could have been a lifesaver to adventurers back in 2003 when the game was a lot harder and things weren't done that efficiently. One of the common drops from the barrels is a rope which is needed to climb down the winch during the quest, so anyone that happened to forget one could just hope for some luck from these barrels. They would just have to protect themselves from the monsters that could spawn from them. Anyways, that's just what I think. If any of you have a different theory or any of you played back in 2003 and know the exact reason for these barrels' existence, let me know down below. I did of course have to test out some unusual money making here, since this method truly defines the term unusual. Perfect for this series. So I put on some stupidly overpowered gear, went through the mossy rocks, climbed through the bookcase crack, lockpicked the ancient gate, smashed some rocks, walked through the magical doorway, found an absolute champion doing the actual Legends Quest, went to go through the ancient gate myself and realized I forgot an unpowered orb, which meant I had to go all the way back to a bank and redo everything. Typical soup quest guide. Anyway, once I finally made it back, my 1 hour of money making in the VLD caves began. Smash the barrels, pick up the loot, kill any NPC that spawned, pick up their loot, rinse and repeat. Every time my inventory got full, I would teleport to Shiloh Village with my Karamja gloves and run all the way back through the caves until I got back to the barrels. I know, painful, but I never said this was efficient. What this is unusual, and that's what the series is all about. The drops here are funky. Sometimes you'll get a rope and some cheese, and other times you'll get a supply drop of like 8 noted items. Sometimes you'll get items that are unique to these barrels, like a ship ticket or Paramaya ticket. I love that noted Mythril and noted iron bars are a very rare drop. After 1 hour, here's all the loot I had collected. Hundreds of barrels smashed for an incredibly random assortment of loot. Everything you see here wasn't just the items you get from the barrels, it also comes from the monsters as well. Our runes, food, herbs, and potions loot came out to 23k, our weapons and armor were 6k, and our other random stuff was 30k. The muddy key drop I got was almost 1/3 of our entire loot. We did have some untradeable drops as well, those being the half-eaten pieces of food, some grimy snakeweed, and some Paramaya tickets. Our final loot came out to 57,986 GP. Not the best GP per hour, but who cares when a method as unusual as this makes its way onto the series. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this one, because it is just an absolutely hilarious method. There is nothing unusual about subscribing to this YouTube channel. If you haven't already, please consider joining the Soup Scribers. Get it? Soup Scribers, subscribers. In Ape Atoll, there's a store that only becomes accessible to you after the completion of Monkey Madness 2. This store is called Ubapook's, oh my god, Ubapook's Javelin Store. Wow. Definitely obliterated the man's name there, I do apologize, I'm just gonna call him Uba. Surprise, surprise, Uba sells javelins in his Javelin store. 500 of each type of javelin, and most of them have the potential to make you profit, but in a different way than you might think. We sell javelins to this store instead of buying from it. We're going to focus on 3 javelins in particular: Mythril, Adamant, and Rune. Hopefully, if we mass buy a bunch of these javelins from the GE and sell them to this shop, we're going to be looking at some serious profit. Javelins have a buy limit of 11,000 every 4 hours, so what I'm going to do is put in an offer for 33,000 of each javelin at these specific prices: 173 GP per Rune Jav, 61 GP per Adamant Jav, and 10 per Mythril Jav. Buying this many javelins for those prices means that I can sell 150 javelins per world and make profit on every single one of them. Luckily, they did did all buy after 12 hours for a total of 8,084,774 GP. Now begins the process of selling all of them to Uba's shop. This is a classic hop and shop method. Sell 150 of each Javelin to the shop per world, hop to the next one, and repeat the process. 150 of each type of Javelin costs us 36,600 GP from the GE, and selling them to the shop with these margins gets us 48,981 GP, a profit of 12,381 GP per world, and hopping and selling the Javelins doesn't take long. We're making 12k every 10 seconds or so. This is without a doubt a great moneymaker, but there's a couple things to look out for. By selling 150 per world, you can hop through every world in the game and catch back up to where you started. But there will still be Javelins left in the shop that you previously sold to it, since the restock time varies between all the Javelins. I had to wait around 30 minutes for all the stocks to reset before I could start selling again. This means that we had to stretch this out into a 2-hour method instead of a 1-hour method. One thing I like about this is that there's very little competition. Since Monkey Madness 2 is required, you're not going to find any bots here. After 2 hours, we had sold all 99,000 Javelins and were left with 10,705,230 GP. Subtract the Rune Javelin's cost of 5,709,000 GP, the Addy Javelin's cost of 2,045,774 GP, and the Myth Javelin cost of 330,000 GP, and we are left with a final profit of 2,620,456 GP after 2 hours of selling Javelins to Uba's shop. Split that in half, and we are looking at a little over 1.3 million GP an hour for this method. Obviously, there is an asterisk since you do have to wait for the Javelins to buy from the GE, and you will need to wait for the shop if it gets too overstocked, but this is still a fantastic method and slots into the top 18 methods of all time. In the latest episode of One Remains, a player tried selling Toad's legs on the Grand Exchange and they didn't even sell for 1 GP. Great video, by the way, make sure you guys all check it out, link below. Seeing Toad legs sell for so low made me check out what they're even used for. 4 things apparently: an agility potion, a Toad bata, tangled Toad's legs, and Toad crunchies. That last item, the Toad crunchies, is the one that piqued my interest because check out their price. 5.4 thousand GP for one of them. We are no stranger to the Gnome Stronghold when it comes to moneymakers. Our number one method of all time was Gnome Restaurant. We've made Blurberry specials, we picked up Swamp Toads, and today we are adding to that list by making Toad crunchies. Toad crunchies require 5 items to make: a crunchy tray, 1 equa leaf, 1 Jian dough, 2 Toad's legs, and some gnome spice. To make it, use the dough on a crunchy tray, bake the raw crunchies on a range or gnome cooker, prepare the Toad crunchies, cook them one more time, then top them off with some equa leaves. Just like that, you have yourself a Toad crunchy. There's 2 ways you can go about doing this method. The first is to get everything from scratch. Aside from the Toad's legs, all the ingredients can be found in the Grand Tree grocery store, operated by Hudo. He sells everything for very cheap. In fact, every item you buy from him makes you profit if you sell it to the Grand Exchange. To get the Toad's legs, we have to head to the swamp outside the Grand Tree and pick them up from the ground. This area has 18 swamp toads spawn, so you have to hop to a second world to fill up your inventory. After that, just spam click on the swamp toads to get some Toad's legs. By constantly making these Toad crunchies from scratch by buying the ingredients from Hudo and picking up the Toad's legs at the swamp, we were able to make 69 Toad crunchies in 30 minutes, and it only cost me 280 total GP to buy everything I needed. The second option you have is just to buy all the ingredients from the Grand Exchange. By pre-buying everything, all you have to do is just make the crunchies. You don't need Hudo, and you don't need to run out to the swamp to get the Toad's legs, which can save you a lot of time, but it is going to be a bit more expensive. For the next 30 minutes, I tested how many Toad crunchies I could make with everything already pre-bought, and I was able to cook up 142 of them. 73 more than doing everything from scratch, but buying all the ingredients from the Grand Exchange cost me 161,864 GP. While the crunchies aren't the most popular item being traded, they do still have a solid volume of around 1,000 sold per day. So I was confident that the 211 crunchies I had for sale would sell. It would just take a few hours. Luckily, I was right. All of the Toad crunchies sold for 1,107,117 GP. Here's how the math breaks down for the 2 different methods of doing this. 1 hour of making the crunchies from scratch would cost you 560 GP, and you'd make 138 Toad crunchies, which would sell for around 724,000 GP. If you buy your ingredients from the GE, it would cost you 323,728 GP. You'd make 284 Toad crunchies, which would sell for around 1.49 million GP. Subtract the initial cost and we're looking at 1.16 million GP an hour making toad crunchies. Both versions of this method are very viable, 700k doing it from scratch and 1.16 million GP buying all the ingredients from the Grand Exchange. If you kind of want the best of both worlds, just buy the toad's legs from the GE and then buy the dough and equa leaves from Hudo's shop since it's mega cheap there. Although the wait time for the crunchies is a bit long, the profit you can make from them is undeniably great. Another win for the Gnome Stronghold. Last year I covered a method that made its way onto the top 10 most profitable methods of all time on this series, buying bolts of cloth from the sawmill in the woodcutting guild. This method made us 1.3 million GP an hour, and all we had to do was just buy bolts of cloth from the shop, bank them, and repeat the process. In the comments of that video, however, the Sopio let me know that there's an even faster way to collect these bolts of cloth. What I didn't know was that the axe shop on the east side of the guild actually has a deposit box. This means we can collect and deposit the bolts of cloth much more quickly than before. A single click is all it takes to get from the sawmill to the axe shop, and by changing our buy option to buy 50 at the sawmill and our deposit option to deposit all at the deposit box, we're looking at a very fast collection method for these bolts of cloth. Here's a quick reminder on why these things are a great moneymaker. They consistently sell for around 900 GP on the Grand Exchange. At some points they go for up to 1,100 GP, and you can buy them from any sawmill in the game for 650 GP. Here's the best part, there's no change rate when you buy them. Usually if you buy something from a shop, it gets more expensive, but not here. You can buy out all 1,000 bolts of cloth and the price stays at 650. On average, you're looking at 250 to 300 GP profit per bolt of cloth. With some starter GP and some staminas in my inventory, I'm buying 25 per inventory. With this newly discovered deposit box, it only takes 20 seconds in total to run to the axe shop and back to the sawmill. The shop stays very well stocked as well. For some reason, the stock never went below 60, so I never had to hop worlds. I don't know why I did that. When I previously tested this, we collected 3,186 bolts of cloth, but with this new method, we ended up with 3,825, almost 700 more than before. I can 100% confirm that this is the faster way of collecting the bolts of cloth. Unfortunately for us, the cloth is currently selling for 115 GP less than when we previously did this. This means that even though we collected more cloth, we ended up with less profit. This time only 980k compared to the 1.3 million from last year. 1 million GP an hour is still incredible for an unusual method like this, but if you want to make the most of it, pay attention to when the cloth spikes above 1000 GP. It happens every so often and is the best time to make the most money off this very good unusual moneymaker. Thanks for watching today's unusual money-making video. If you have a money-making method you'd like me to try out, send me a message on Discord or Twitter, or leave it in the comments section below. I'm excited to see what you guys send my way, and as usual, I'll see you all in the next one.